I'm going to work on this face right now. This is like a little Frida LadyBug thing I've been working on for more than a year, actually. I started it a while back. And I'm just going to walk you through my process. Up until this point is in another video that I'll link. And I'll put in the description too if you want to see that video of how I got up until this point, at least on the face. I'll just explain it to you in case you don't feel like going over to that other video. I have this yellow ochre Nova color paint. I just kind of messy wiped it over this area. Let it dry. You could even see like thicknesses and different stuff. And then all I've done over that messy layer is another thin layer of yellow ochre mixed with matte medium Liquitex. And then I took a I took a small filbert after that, and I used my highlight color that I have pre-mixed. If you know that, I do that. If you've seen my other videos, here's my Midtone highlight shadow. All pre-mixed, ready to go. And I have this filbert round top. Grab the highlight, boom, boom, just tagged it to give some depth, not to necessarily follow classic rules of art or shadows or light sources or anything like that. I like to hit both eyelids with the highlight, even if maybe that's not how it would be if the sun is out. I like doing that. If you can see in this other one, I paid a little bit more attention, thinking a directional with the light. Just barely. Boop. Just getting a little highlight there on the lips. Boom, boom. Okay. That's also in the last video that I pointed to. Okay, so now we're on to this video. The first thing I'm going to do here on this is get the legs drawn in. And because I care about this, I'm not saying I don't care about other, this is more like a fictional character. This is like a person that talks to deer or something cool like that. Maybe a goat person. And this is Frida Kahlo as a ladybug, right? So there's some, there's got to be something there to me that points to that. So I pulled this picture of a ladybug up. To look at the legs, I got my trusty mechanical pencil because art pencils put way too much graphite on everything. It makes it really dirty. I mean, I like messy painting, but I don't like having to deal with all that pencil marks. So I'm just going to pretend, boop, this is the angle she is. Wish me luck. Just kidding, it's pencil, I can erase it. So it's coming right out of her head. The leg is, I'm going to say the leg is one head. So that's the head. Oh, that leg is about a head long. So, So it's going to come right out of her head. Maybe this spot right here. Pretend. Okay, that's actually cool with me. She's got one leg there. But then the other one's coming kind of right out of her head here and going onto the lily, right? So that'll be weird and cool. It'll just make it weirder, which is the goal, huh? Okay, so coming out of the back leg, I wonder if we'd even see that middle leg coming. This middle leg. Supposed to pretend her back goes to there. I'm just walking you through how I think about things. Maybe there's a little leg sticking out there. And then the other one is just, it's not in the picture. Okay, so we got a leg here. What about second leg? Second leg in the photo? I mean, painting, is second leg in here? I don't think so. Second leg might be right there. Right? Okay, so I got the legs in where I want them. Now I don't have to look at my phone, which changes my whole like thought process. It's like left brain versus right brain. Okay, back to the fun part. I have this little Royal and Langnickel tiny brush. Look at that. Hello. I would tell you the size, but it broke off. So the mid-tone, right? Highlight, mid-tone, shadow. Boop. The mid-tone of this is yellow ochre. This is how I buy the paint in these large ones. Because this whole thing is like 20 bucks. This is like 2 years worth of this color, maybe 3. Isn't that crazy? And it's my favorite paint. In addition to it being much more affordable than any other paint I've ever come across. All right. So what I'm seeing here is, see if I can zoom in just a tiny bit. So I have a defined shadow over here. I have a really nice defined highlight. So if I'm going looking at this and going, what does it need, right? The ultimate art question. What does this need? My heart and my mind go, well, let's mess around with a midtone and just see if I can make more weird depth with the midtone. So the midtone is yellow ochre, I know that for sure. And let's see, if that's the highlight and that's a shadow, then it'll probably be like in this area. So as you can see, all I'm doing is kind of reining that highlight back. See that? And then if I think that shadows to Narnar, I can also just go right over it and tone it back. I can come back in with a shadow and make it harder again. There's no limit to how many times you can just go over things and bring them back. And the more you do, the more if you're like me, the more you do, the more your like sketch marks under there get covered, starts to come to life. All right, so all I'm doing right now is just creating a little bit more of like a rounded effect by coming back in with my midtone and going over some of that highlight. Like maybe it was a little too much. Can always bring it back, remember? All right, so I put more of a midtone back. And I know just from doing this for a while, I'm gonna let that dry. Move on to the next thing, come back to it. My next goal on here is to do a very fine stripe of what looks like black, but it's not. It's actually very dark purple. Try to say that. Carbazole dioxazine violet. Right. So that's what I'm gonna do next on the face. Make it like, give that little detail. Moving on, let's do the flowers. How to make a flower look more interesting. I talked about it in the last video. Take the color you already have and go lighter or darker with it. The color I used, dark, light. When you add white to something, it's called a tint. If you like those flashy art words. When you add dark to something, it's called a shade. I didn't want the value, there's another name drop word. I didn't want the value to be so far away from the original color. So I'm going to add a shadow and I'm going to add a highlight. So this is now going to become the midtone. Yeah, we learned stuff together. I still barely know what I'm doing. All right, so we're going to start with the shadow for fun. We're going to do, let's just do all of it. Let's be weird. Okay, the swirl is getting a shadow. And I'm using the opportunity to cover up any white spots that I didn't paint. All right, so let's see if I made enough paint. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. See how I'm just kind of using that original color as the midtone and pushing a little shadow around it? Just gives it a little bit of something. You'll see if you try it, if you like it. Doesn't matter if you're painting a flower or a banana. If you don't know what to do, grab the banana color, make a light version and a dark version, and add weird stuff. It's the way. Now I'm going to go back and re-add my midtone to this flower that's this color. Just this one. Just this one. And like I said, even if you're painting a banana, if you're doing it from memory, this is a fun way to get across a canvas. I'm going to do light and dark versions of colors and work my way through these with midtones, highlights, and shadows that do not, I repeat, do not have to line up with real life, real sun, real angles. Just gives it depth. Okay, let's do a highlight. Watch this. You're going to love this part. I'm going to use the same highlight on all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Here we go. Ready? Barely a highlight here. Oh, I love it. Just a little highlight here. All I'm doing is just hitting the little side of that flower. I'm not really thinking about, I'm kind of thinking about the sun maybe coming from this direction. I'm not worried if it hits another part of it, because there's also like 2 sides to every petal, right? So there could be like a tiny little sun hit like right here. It could be the front. It could be the back. All right? Just showing you an easy way to make something more interesting if you don't have a bunch of things in your tool belt. Do this highlight, low light, shadow thing. Follow rules or break them. Use lines or dots. Dots are fun. Watch what happens when you do a tiny highlight on the lips. Boom, 2 marks right here. See that? 2 little tiny dots. And then maybe like 1 dot right there. Maybe a tiny dot right there. Tiny little dots. See that? And then again, here we go. That was the highlight. So I'm going to choose this purple as the shadow. Just to keep it simple. Watch what happens. If you're really following my rules, you'd mix the purple with the red just to have like a shaded version of it. But I don't mind hard lines in my art. So here we go. I hope you're watching. Don't look away. Sorry. So this is my classic method of making a mouth. Just 2 little dips, 3 dips, technically 2 points, maybe a tiny little shadow right here if you want. Keep it really simple. If you want to smirk, just boom, this is how you smirk harder. If you want sadness, pull this side down, pull this side down. We're going to go with smirk, okay? All right, next we're going to do the lines on the face to prove that you don't need a bunch of highlights and shadows and things to give something depth. It just needs to be like defined somehow. All right, so here I go. Can I do this? Of course I can. I can always paint over it, right? Rule number 1. Just getting a lot of paint off there so I can do a really thin stripe. Which is gonna be here. Okay. Keeping it simple at first, I can always add to it. Eyelids. Where are you, eyelids? Here I am. Whee. Simple marks. And not a lot of paint. on my brush. Very small brush. Oh, yeah, actually, no, that's kind of where I wanted it. All right, let's get the eyelid defined a little bit more. I'm just telling you how I get through the faces. Okay, there come the eyes. Hello, eyes. Maybe, there we go. That's so much better. Nose. Much better. Just cleaning up the side shape of the face. A lot of time my goal is to, how can I get through this painting the fastest and have it look finished? I don't know, I guess speed painting is just in my soul. I like to do it like that. Fast. You can always paint over it, whip through it. What if you can do a painting in an hour and you like, it lights your entire soul up, right? Wouldn't you do one a day? Remember the legs I did? Are you ready? Are we doing purple? I think we should. Let's do the legs. Okay, come here. Come here, you little bug. That actually doesn't really make sense. So we'll go here. I was gonna add another leg here, but it doesn't really make sense that it's floating up there on that calla lily. So I'm gonna leave that off for now. Definitely wanted to come back in here and get a more defined ladybug shape. Maybe get some spots in there, right? All right, here we go. Second leg. It's gonna be just fine. Come on. Don't be scared. Okay. Don't forget to breathe. I'm going through each little area and trying to make things look finished. You know what? I'm feeling impulsive, so let's just do all these up here Indian yellow. Just for some reason feel like it needs that. Can leave little tiny pieces of the green showing to make it more interesting. Okay, like that. Then down here. Yeah. It's okay. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it. There, that's all tied in. Put that brush down, it's dirty. I'm gonna take this chromium oxide green and just kind of go over the leaves here where I can see the Sharpie marks without thinking too hard about it. I'm just covering Sharpie marks. It's not wet enough, so I'm gonna add some flow right there into the paint. Makes it so wet. So it glides on. That's what we all want, right? Gliding on wet paint. Okay, boom. Just covering these visible Sharpie marks. Pressing down a little when I'm close to the middle, which will give it that like outward feeling. Ooh, I like that. I'm gonna leave it. I'm just gonna experiment right here. Put some Hansa yellow there. Smoosh it around. Is that what it needs? I think so. Literally just, this is how I paint. I try stuff right on the painting. And if it doesn't work, you can wipe it off while it's wet. You can do a lot of things while it's wet. You can completely wipe it off while it's wet with your hand, a paper towel, a wet paintbrush. I feel like trying things is more exciting than planning it all out and knowing what's about to happen. It's just not how I make art. I want to be like, whoa. I'm so glad I chose that yellow, right? Just added something to it. Boom. A vibe. Right here in this little spot. Got my original color here, Hansa yellow. Boom. Barely wiping my brush off. I have this Indian yellow. And all I'm going to do is a couple swooshes. Extreme restraint. You know what? Matte medium, add that to it. Which is clear acrylic. Make it a little more transparent. Okay, here we go. Just a couple swooshes. If I don't like it, I can paint over it. Right? Let's see what a shadow do. Shadow might do this. One swoosh. A shadow might hold the inside of this lip here. Oh, come on. That's my second swoosh. See that? Start to finish swooshes, no hesitation. You can always paint over it. Just keep saying that to yourself. Okay, here's my third swoosh. I'm going to do total restraint here. Inside of that. Come on. Oh, yeah. And I'm just going to wipe a little bit of this away. I'll show you. I got a brush here. I got it wet from my water dish. I'm just going to paint some of this away. Watch this. Goodbye. You were a little too close to the inside for me. And you know what? While I'm here, look, I can take this hard edge off. Do you see how I'm doing that? It's not like fake confidence. I just know, hey, if it goes wrong, I can paint over it. Let's get one little hit of this. Boom, up there. Oh, that's fun. I love it. One more here. Boom. All right, so this is my tiny little round brush. Tiny little liner. And I'm going to just do a couple highlight marks. Very tiny. Like the lip ones. Okay? Here we go. All right, so just a tiny, It's always exciting to put the highlight marks and hope they land in the right spot. Okay, I'm just going to try to make them go with the ones on the lip a little bit. Tiny mark. Highlight point. Burn point. Tiny little mark there. Oh, I'm barely touching it. Too much paint. Maybe a little bit one on her forehead. Just a tiny bit. Come on, like right here. Make this one a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like just barely. And then this. Yep. Just giving it some character. A couple white dots. Let's just do some spots. Just getting her little wings defined here. Just a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. Let's just fill it in. Let's get a spot in there. Come on. This. Okay. Pretty close here. The beginning of the painting, I didn't really like it. And I always wanted to do a Frida bug. This is like the third or fourth attempt. I painted over all the other ones because I didn't like them. And check it out. It's got so much personality for a tiny little painting. This is a 6 by 12, which is a fun size because it'll fit in small spaces. Not everyone has a wall the size of the Smithsonian. Okay. I hope you learned something about this 3-level highlight method of just getting through a painting. It gives you ideas on the fly and just how to kind of come up with ideas as you go. Remember rule number 1, you can always paint over it. And I really hope you enjoy the process. Unless you're in a bad mood, of course, and then you can cry through it if you like. Thank you for subscribing to my channel and supporting my art journey here on YouTube. It means so much to me. Yay! Frida LadyBug.